because, like for instance, see these marigolds, they keep away bugs. So you put the marigolds beside the other flowers, and then the other flowers don't get eaten by the bugs. And like back there, that's a herb spiral, and it's.
Hello, this is Kathleen Jones coming to you from the Rodney Street Community Garden. We were called out here for a work party, but it's a little bit more interesting than that. Apparently the people who were running this garden had 15 days to meet some code violations because there was a lot of weeds growing out here. And so they've been cleaning things up because they don't want this garden to get bulldozed. But the realty company has decided that they don't want the garden here anymore at all, and there are some contractors here who have a contract to bulldoze it. So it's an interesting standoff. I did hear a rumor that the sheriff was on their way, so I hope that this little incident of pea patch revolution doesn't turn into a big fight.
We just want to vacate the lot. I'm going to fence the lot and close it. We deal with rat problems. We have a nuisance report from the city. The officers have read it. We just want people trespassing at this moment. We just like stop doing what they do.
Will the fencing address the rat problem?
No, it won't. But not having all the other things there, leveling a lot, keep fixing the will address the problem.
Maybe we could look at it there. Actually, I saw people doing leveling.
I don't want to go into a confrontation.
No, I don't want to be a confrontation.
The thing is all I'm asking the officers to do is people at the lot.
Sure.
You're welcome to take any plants you'd like to take them home. Any place you'd like to plant them, you're welcome to take them. As many of them on that property as you want. But that's it. That's why I stand on it.
So I did hear in what you were saying that you want to see the property level. Or you want to see the exactly. Okay. Well, what do you read about?
This is Oscar, the dog that's coming in. His name is Oscar. He lives across the street.
So that doesn't need to bulldoze the garden.
This is Craig Membrane. Yeah, it's one of the original groundbreakers here at this garden. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely sad to see this happening, but I'm glad that people have showed up. People are supporting the current crew of gardeners, and the neighborhood has come out, and they're all talking amongst themselves. And I think it's heartening to see that there is some response from people who've never even visited the garden. And then we're finding out what neighbors don't like the garden and why. So there is like a process of community discussion and learning going on. There was a time in which a lot of the original crew traveled, and so there was a period when some weeds kind of went up here. And there was always active gardening, but the garden was, it looked a little bit untended for a while, and I think that maybe played a role in making the neighbors complain. So it's a learning process. Recently, and this is partially why it's so sad, recently there's been an influx of new energy, and people are trying to orient this towards permaculture, which becomes eventually self-sustaining, which is a real nice ideal to start living up to and spreading on this planet, which so badly needs it. As you can see, there's a fruit tree right there. There's a bunch of other stuff here. There's organic veggies, flowers, herb garden. The city came in a couple days ago and had a list of code violations, and they actually did some damage to the garden. They were kind of ignorant as to what was weeds and what wasn't, and they uprooted some things. In order to prevent the fines being levied against the landowner, she decided to send her bulldozers out. And that's what happened this morning. And there was a response from some gardeners and supporters.
The bees back here.
There was a response to come out and try and delay it, and so we're able to salvage a lot of the garden. And the plot is still going to be bulldozed, and the woman probably wants to sell it. There's this whole class issue of gentrification, the Max line coming through over that away in a couple years. She probably wants to build a house here, and so it looks like they're going to put a fence up and keep out for a while. Thankfully, some neighbors here are talking about using their yard as a place to transplant some of the stuff, so it's not a total failure, but it is a learning experience. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Hi.
Hi!
So what you doing?
Digging up the shit,
Why?
because they're gonna bulldoze us.
They are?
Yeah.
So you're pulling up the plants that you want to save?
Yes.
So what you got in there?
I've got peppers, and I've got squash, and I've got cilantro, and I've got celery, and I've got something I cannot identify.
Well, that'll be great. So you have a place to plant it then?
Apparently, we're going to take these to about 5 different places, a neighbor's yard, and a couple other people are going to take some stuff, and that's it.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Oh, yeah.